man.
He's great. So, okay, so take us back to February. Take us back a really, really long time ago. Yeah. February 2011.
Right, right.
So you're getting involved in Startup Weekend. You're thinking about going to be a judge. And tell us how that happened.
A friend of mine who's on the board at Startup Weekend, and I was on the board at Startup Weekend, or advisory board, or whatever we were. We went to meetings quarterly with him. It was his birthday last year in February, and he was like, dude, for my birthday, will you please come to Startup Weekend in LA? It's going to be really fun. It was the NBA All-Star Game was that weekend, and I had some other friends there from like the angel investor world that I thought I was going to hang out with. And I literally bought my ticket on Thursday before the Startup Weekend, and flew out there on Friday, spent the afternoon messing around at Koloft, which is where the event is there, and I listened to 30 pitches on Friday night. And I kept waiting for somebody to pitch something that I was like super psyched about, and it didn't happen. And the whole time
you're sitting in the crowd.
Yeah, I was sitting in the front row. I wasn't planning on pitching or anything. I was just there to like hang out and have fun and like help some teams or whatever. And I always keep this little file on my phone of just ideas that I like that I wish someone would pitch me, and like with an angel hat on, like, hey, would love to invest in these. And the more I was just sitting here like literally looking at the notes file on my iPhone, I was like, you know what, like, fuck it, I'm gonna just pitch something. And so after everybody went, I was like not in line. I was like, can I do something really quick? And I did just an absolutely horrific, terrible pitch. Like 1 minute, I called it Geo-Bay, like a hyper local eBay, right? So clever. I made that up as I was walking up there to do this, and and then for whatever reason, a couple people thought that sounded like a fun weekend project, and that night we named it Zaarly. And about 2 p.m. the next day, we just had one of those like moments that was like, oh my God, like we could build an amazing company here, and it would be neat to win Startup Weekend, but like we're going to do this thing. And so there was 10 people that worked on it that weekend with us.
Yeah, so talk about, and how many of them did you know before the weekend started? One guy.
Yeah, one I knew, and I'd only known him for honestly a little while.
And he was what? What was his role?
On the
technical?
Team? No, not technical. He's an ex-lawyer. He used to be a startup attorney at Cooley. Right. Like terrible. Worst human ever. He's the best co-founder ever. He's amazing. And then the other guy who actually ended up being our third co-founder was the technical guy, and we literally just asked, we're like, hey, we need somebody who can build awesome stuff during the weekend. Who's the best developer? And they pointed at this guy.
He's just sitting in the room.
And and we went and sold him. We're like, dude, we need you to work with us this weekend. Like, we heard you're badass. Yeah. And he's our other.
Well, you're pretty intimidating. I mean, it can't be that hard to sell. Like you're like a normal fun guy, but like you kind of have like that presence, like I'll say like you pitch him with a smile, but if he doesn't say yes, like you could have trouble, right?
I don't know. No, he's a pretty tough dude. Actually, he's like a total programmer. Like he's at the gym a lot. So, but he's honestly just turned out like it's the last thing I would ever advise someone to do is start a company with somebody they met that weekend. Like it's a terrible idea.
It's like marrying somebody after a day, right?
We like won the human capital lottery with this guy, like Ian Hunter. He's our CTO and co-founder, and he's an amazing human. He is an amazing co-founder. He's an amazing CTO developer. He is just he's a total rock star, and we just got lucky.
So that's the first three, and then who else did you have in there?
That was it. There's 10 people in the room that weekend, but then like on Monday, like the way that these startup weekends work, like at the end, if you have a big team, you got to do like team cleanup because like I'm like philosophically and in all ways averse to all companies that have 5 founders or more. I think it's like the surest recipe for disaster ever.
Why is that?
Too many people, too many. It's impossible to not. Think about how hard marriage is with one other person. Like, try doing that with 6 people simultaneously, right? Like, sounds terrible. Right?
Jeff here, he dates like 5 or 6 at a time.
So dates though, right? Like, he's not going to marry.
Dating,
so.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I see they say like a third of all technology companies fail because of founder disputes. Yeah. Like, no market test, no nothing. Like, founder dispute causes companies to fail. And the more people you introduce into that mix, like, the more your odds go up. And so I love 3-person founding teams, outside guy, inside guy, product guy. Like, I'm a big believer in that as like a model. Yeah. And at the end of these startup weekends, like we had 10 people, and it was like a call to say like, hey, we want to keep you on as advisors and help and all that kind of stuff. But like the 3 of us are really going to go and do this thing. So like, thanks for the help this weekend. And that's like what we did.
Okay, so then you finish on Sunday, right?
Yeah.
So you finish on Sunday. What then happens on Monday? What happens that next week?
Well, the color of that weekend was that like we had some nice friends because we've been working in this space for a while, and so a lot of people heard about us that weekend actually. LeVar Burton, who was the Kunta Kinte in The Roots, and then he was the dude from Reading Rainbow, and then he was like the black dude in Star Trek with that
Geordi.
Thing, right? Yeah, exactly. So LeVar's a friend of mine, and I've known LeVar for a while. I actually helped him start a company that he's running now. that
It's like a family. It's like a parent or child or something. It's like an app or.
It's
in that
licensed
space,
all the
right?
rights to Reading Rainbow,
Yeah.
like that he was
Oh,
on,
okay.
and
Oh, it is
they're building an
Reading
iPad
Rainbow.
app,
Okay.
and it's called RR Kids is the company. Anyway,
Okay.
so I just sent him a note. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm in LA. I'm working on this thing. It's pretty cool. He tweeted about it. He's got like 1.8 million Twitter followers, and then like a lot of people
that
started
sucks.
signing up for a non-existent product. And then I had about a couple weeks before when I was just going to hang out there, I'd sent Ashton Kutcher an email because we'd just kind of been emailing. And
he
talking for a
responded?
little while. Well, we knew each other,
Sure.
and he's like into the startup. I know, right? I know, right?
Same.
Right. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, but it sounds like name droppy, but it's like I invited him to Startup Weekend, and I was like, hey, dude, like, you should come and check this out. Like, it will blow your mind what people can do in 54 hours. And he emailed me on Saturday of Startup Weekend and was like, hey, dude, I'm going to come by and bring a couple friends if that's cool. And I was like,
Who is
oh
it?
my
It's
God.
like.
It was
Who did he bring?
Demi Moore and
sure.
Rimmer, her daughter, and then Anthony, who runs Catalyst,
Okay.
which is his company in LA. And so I was like, sweet, right? And like, so I knew this, but no one else at Startup Weekend knew it. I was thinking like, this would be so cool. Like, it's gonna be like a cool little gift to the Startup Weekend people. Like, they're gonna be all geeked. Ashton shows up and whatever. And it ended up being a gift to myself. I just didn't know it. And so we showed up. They spent all day, 6 hours on Sunday, just going from team to team, talking and giving feedback. And he's like he's a great investor and a really active investor. So it's not like he's new to the scene or whatever. And anyway, he ended up being a stand-in for a judge that I was not. And
he took your spot.
Yeah, and then so we had 5 judges that night. We pitched. We won at midnight that night. I had 3 proposals for term sheets in my inbox and a note from him that was like, hey, dude, if you're going to really do this, I'd be interested.
Wow.
And then sent a couple notes. I mean, we closed our seed round 2 days later with like Naval and Ron Conway and Ashton and the Light Bank Groupon founders. Like all, I mean,
Sure.
it was a good group of people.
And so just